Spurgeon here with RevZilla, and in this video we're going to break down the Arai Regent-X helmet available at RevZilla.com. So what you're going to see on the table is the new entry-level Regent-X from Arai. Now this is a helmet that's been around Europe for a few years now. Coming into the American market, this is going to be your entry level into the Arai brand. So just keeping in mind that Arai is that premium helmet manufacturer, this is going to be about $100 more affordable than the next helmet up, which would be the Defiant X. Now, as we work through the video, what we will talk about are the features that you will sacrifice, and then you can decide for yourself whether or not you want to bump up to the Defiant X or whether or not the Regent-X is something that really meets your goals. But for those of you that have always wanted to get into the Arai brand, but the cost has kept you away in the past, you now have a helmet that's coming in sub $500. Although it's, just $5 sub $500, it's still going to be an excellent helmet, very safe, carrying on that Arai name and the quality you'd expect. So let's break down what you can get with this particular lid. So the shell itself is going to be the PB-cLc construction. That's peripheral belted complex laminate shell. Now, if you want more information about this, I actually did a really cool article on Common Shred talking about the difference in construction methods between Arai and Shoei, and it's really interesting to see exactly how Arai uses the shell construction. But just keep in mind, it's going to be very similar to a lot of other helmets in Arai's lineup. It's just not going to be their top of the line shell construction that you would see in their race helmets. So what you're going to have are 4 different shell sizes. The shell breakdown would be the extra small, then medium large, then extra large 2XL, 4 EPS liners, DOT Snell approved. Now from what Arai tells us, this is going to be the first helmet in their lineup that's going to come with the Snell 2020 rating. As we look at the inside, you'll notice that the sticker on this is still Snell 2015. But again, what they're telling us is once we get past this sample, and this is a sample unit, that the helmet will be a Snell 2020. 5 intake vents, 5 exhaust vents, and the fit on this is going to be intermediate oval. Now, if you're new to helmets, we do have a helmet sizing guide that kind of explains all about this internal fit. But just keep in mind, intermediate oval means a little bit longer front to back, slightly narrower at the side of the head. And the important note here is that it's going to work for the majority of riders in the American market. Really excellent fit from this. One of the things you're going to sacrifice that Arai has become known for is you're not going to get the 5 millimeters of adjustment within the cheek pads on this. So if you bump up to something like the Defiant X, the cheek pads will actually have little removable 5 millimeter inserts so you can fine tune the fit. That is one of the things that you're going to sacrifice with the Regent-X. You're just going to have regular, non-adjustable cheek pads. You're also going to notice, as we're taking a look at this, the face shield, while it is Pinlock ready, is not going to have a Pinlock insert in the box. If you want to add the Pinlock insert, you'd have to buy that separately. Now, the pod on this, the side pods, is something that Arai is known for, and this is going to be the new updated pod. I believe they updated their pod systems about 2-3 years ago, maybe. I know when I got the new version of the Quantum, it had the new side pods on it, and that was the Quantum X. So when we're taking a look at this, you're going to have a little mechanism right here. You simply push that in, and the side pod pops off. This is a lot easier for those of you that have used Arai for years. My old Quantum 2 did not come off this easily. You broke a lot of pods trying to get the face shields on and off. So the new system, well, it's not as easy as some out there. It is still going to be relatively easy compared to what Arai has done in the past. Then you kind of simply pop it back into place. I like to just give it a little bit of a move there, make sure it's all locked in, and the pod is back on. But that's how you would change out the face shields. Now, it's still going to be that really high-quality face shield that we're going to see within Arai's line. You're going to have the brow vents up top if you want a little bit of additional venting. And the basic vents on this are going to be seen throughout a lot of the Arai helmets. So really nothing that you're sacrificing there. They are designed to break off in the event of a crash. The shell shape itself is still going to be that R75 shape. Like I said, excellent article on Common Shred that I penned kind of explaining all these different nomenclatures within Arai's line. But the R75 shape, what they say, and through their testing and technology, is that the shape of the helmet itself that Arai has designed is really working to cut down on rotational impact. So you have a lot of people out there talking about all the interior work they're doing to reduce rotational impact. Arai is saying that their shell with this R75 shape, it cuts down on the rotational spin in the event of a crash. Spinning around to the back, what you'll notice is there are vents in the back, but they're passive vents, so there's no way to open or close the vents. Again, if you bump up into more expensive helmets in Arai's line, you get some active vents on the back. This is just going to be your passive vent. Let's go ahead and move to the inside of the helmet. And I am going to open the face shield up just so I can reach in from the inside. So the the neck curtain on the back on this, the neck roll rather, is non-removable. So if you are trying to take the cheek pads out so you can wash them, something that is common, that is not going to be removable with this particular helmet. If you pull them out, getting it back in is a pain in the butt. So I made that mistake. This is glued into place, so you don't want to pull that out. The chin curtain itself is also non-removable, and this is not going to be the adjustable chin curtain like you would see if you were to bump up to the Defiant X. The top of the line Arai, you can actually adjust where that chin curtain comes down, and it helps with a little bit of the wind buffeting. But this one is just going to be a chin curtain that is stuck into place. Now, Arai cheek pads, and I am an Arai owner and user, have been for years. Notoriously, my least favorite part of the Arai helmet is going to be the cheek pads. They're just a little bit difficult to get in and out because there's no snaps. You have to kind of line them up, and there's a little tab behind the cover which goes into the front of the helmet. So as you're doing this, you have to play around with it a couple times, but you can get that lined up and then it pops into place. Now I will say, you'll notice everything's clearly marked. So while you don't have the 5mm pads to adjust, if you do need to swap them out, Arai does a really good job of having different size cheek pads that work for different helmets. So you can still fine tune the fit. You just have to go ahead and buy a different set of cheek pads. And that's actually something that I do even with something like my Corsair X, the helmet that I use in the racetrack. I always get an extra large and then I bump up one set of cheek pads in there. So not something that's very uncommon even in the more expensive ones to get the right fit for this, but it's just good to know that even though you're just getting basic cheek pads, it's not the premium interior liner that you would see with some of the other Arais. You can still swap the cheek pads out if you want, and then once you swap them out, you just simply pull the cover off, put the cover back onto the cheek pads that you go ahead and purchase. But basic interior, so again, you're not getting the premium interior that you would get bumping up into some of the more expensive Arai helmets. Now the liner on this is just going to be a Velcro liner. So you're not going to have anything as far as snaps are concerned. You're going to have these little tabs that kind of fit into place, but then you just have a little bit of Velcro on the back and two little tabs of Velcro on the front. From my experience playing around with this, you can adjust it a little bit as far as like front and back, but it's really just going to sit around the crown, and then your actual top liner is going to be non-removable. So you see this little cap on the inside, that's glued into place. Do not try and pull that out, okay? Little padding on the top of this. You're going to see that that is, you're not getting any of that kind of adjustment that you get with a more premium one, but that top pad sits into place, and then the crown liner itself pulls out. You can see basic interior. You're not going to have pockets cut out for speakers in an Arai, and I say that because in all the Arais, if you pull this cover off, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull one of these completely off, you'll notice that you have this little cutout right in the back here, and that's where you would insert any kind of a speaker for the comm systems that you would want to add to this. So that's where that would go, and that's going to be very similar across the entire Arai line. Basic inside, again, very basic helmet from Arai, but they didn't sacrifice the safety. What you are going to sacrifice are some of the creature comforts that you would get with a more expensive Arai helmet. But now what you can do is you can get the Arai safety, the Arai name, you can get that Snell safety rating in a helmet that's sub $500 if you stick with the solid colors. If you go with some of the graphics that Arai is coming out with, you are going to bump up north of that $500 mark. But for those of you out there that have always wanted Arai, you've wanted something a little bit more budget friendly, you now have the Regent-X as an option for you to choose from. And if you have any questions as to whether or not this is the right helmet for you, you can click the info button, read other rider reviews, folks that are already using this helmet. You can reach out to one of our gear geeks at 877-792-9455. You can shoot an email to cs@RevZilla.com. And keep in mind, at RevZilla, we do have the price match guarantee, so you are guaranteed to get the lowest price. So I want to thank you for joining us for this look at the Arai Regent-X helmet. I'm Spurge. Enjoy the ride.